Hi, this is Dr. Johnny Liu, and we're going to go over more Medicare cases. So we have a case here that says somebody who signed up for Medicare with a supplement and a Part D plan. He's paying $200 a month, roughly, plus another roughly $30 for the prescription plan. He goes, I think it's better than the health plan I have with my employer, which was $68 twice a month, so about 130 bucks. 136 to be exact, a month. But it has steep deductibles and copays. Tell me I did the right thing, because right now it doesn't feel like it. I had to pay quarterly for my supplemental plan. I think that's good till November. I don't know. I feel like I made a mistake. I should have stayed with my company plan. What do you think I should do? And this is interesting. This is on a forum. So I don't know if forums are the best places to get advice, definite advice on things, but certainly gives you some polling. Comments are, oh, I did the same thing. My employer plan was really bare bones. I got a $5,000 out-of-pocket maximum, so I went on Medicare. Same thing happened to this person, the next person as well. And that's a trend that we're seeing. So without getting the whole picture, it's hard to understand, but essentially how we approach it is that when somebody is working past 65 and they have coverage through their employer, we want to look at three factors. One is, what's the premium? What are the monthly costs between Medicare versus employer coverage? The second is, what does the out-of-pocket expenses look like? Because oftentimes, if the employer coverage is less money on a monthly basis and Medicare is more expensive, Medicare may have lower costs out-of-pocket when somebody needs to use medical services. So we had an example where we had a 5,000 person company. There was somebody who worked for the company for over 30 years, and he had a spouse that had cancer, and she was maxing out about a $4,000 out of pocket every single year, plus a $2,000 cost sharing. So she was spending $6,000 out of pocket every year for her care, and she realized that with Medicare, it's going to be, the premium is a little bit higher. It's going to cost her about $4,000 a year, but she has very little out-of-pocket expenses. So it was a net $2,000 savings for the family. So in those cases, for the last, I would say 3 years, she was looking at just the premiums and saying, hey, look, on a monthly basis, my husband's employer plan was going to be lower cost, and she was missing out on that $2,000 a year savings. So that's a significant chunk of money for most people, and that's something that's important to look at, which is not only the monthly premium, but also the out-of-pocket expenses. The other part to look at is also, what kind of coverage are you getting? Because what happens with employer coverage now is that a lot of employers are pulling back. Not only are they adding higher deductibles, higher copays, higher premiums, but they're also narrowing their network. So some employers are going to these HMO plans where you have referrals and you have to get a primary care doctor, and you can only see certain doctors in the network. So if your preferred doctor or hospital is out of network and you have an HMO plan, then chances are, if you want to go see their doctor, you're going to have to get another plan. So sometimes people will switch to a more expensive plan for that flexibility of being able to see who they want to see. So those are the major factors when looking at employer coverage versus Medicare. And what we're seeing is that about a quarter of the folks now, about 13 years ago when we first started, most people stayed on their employer coverage because employer plans are still pretty robust, but 13 years of 10% a year increases on average to employer coverage, things are getting pretty unaffordable. So a lot of employers are cutting back, and a lot of individuals are looking at Medicare and choosing Medicare, because also for some folks, they're concerned about layoffs too, because they're saying, well, what if my employer lays me off tomorrow? What do I do? I'd rather know that my healthcare is going to be covered and continuous, so that if I get laid off, I know that I'll be on Medicare and not have to worry about it. So less folks are thinking about it in that way, but a lot of people more and more people are thinking about it in that way, especially more and more layoffs are happening. So that's across the board what's happening. And so in this particular case, you really have to take a look at what were they spending on their employer coverage, because if they were spending $136 a month, that's going to be less money than Medicare with a supplement and drug plan, which is going to be around $400 a month. But if they were spending $3,000, $4,000 out of pocket on their employer coverage versus Medicare, where they're going to be spending with a supplemental plan next to nothing, then it's going to be a better bet to go into Medicare. So that's how we would look at that particular example.